What's up, YouTube? Joseph Quick here. Today I'm going to go over why I take a bedroll with me. So right now I'm using a new tarp. Just trying it out. It's 10 by 10. Sorry if I seem a little tired. I only got 3 hours of sleep last night, but here we go. Sorry if my hair is a little bit of a mess, but I'm down here at Sulphur River, MWA, Wildlife Management Area. This is a lot closer to where I live, rather than in my last video, I was up at Muddy Creek, MWA, Wildlife Management Area. And up there, I went over my machete. And on this one, I'm gonna go over my bedroll and why I specifically take a bedroll. So if you haven't seen my gear video, I'm about to go over what I take in my bedroll. All right, let me prop you up against my new shovel. Okay, so try and get there we go. All right, so I've got a 5x7 canvas tarp that I can either use as a shelter. So if I don't want to take this tarp, well, take this tarp here, take this tarp that I brought, that I'm trying out, I can always use this. I can use this canvas tarp as my shelter. I've done it multiple times before. Yes, I get a little cold, but during, like right now, it'd be perfect. But I want to try out this new tarp and go from there. And so then I've got a thick wool Artemis 80% wool blanket that I take with me. This is the primary piece in my sleeping system, and I've got a smaller wool blanket. So everything I take has multiple purposes. So if it doesn't have two purposes, I don't take it. So this canvas tarp, I can use that as my shelter and as my ground cover like I'm using it now. My wool blanket, I can use that to keep me warm. And because it's 80% wool, just the little stitching here is the only thing that's 20% because there's a lot of stitching on it. I can use that for additional purposes. So, fire starting. Clean off a little section. I can use this little bit of wool that I just scraped off, this wool blanket, as fire starting material. And it's only supposed to get down to 70, so I'm not even gonna have a fire on this camp out. So, yeah. Oh, and if you're wondering what kind of knife this is I use, it's a BPS knives. It's a smaller one that they have. It's off of Amazon. I love it. It's held a good edge. But this is about the bedroll, nothing else. And then this little wool blanket, let's see if I can, well, it's not so much wool as it is fleece. But, I mean, same thing. Yeah, that's not as much because this thing's, I put this through the wash and I've had this for years. But another piece of my sleeping system, it keeps me warm. It keeps me warm. I'm probably just gonna sleep on top of everything and just have it ready if it gets cold. It's only supposed to get like maybe 50 degrees. So, but the bedroll can be used for multiple purposes. The cowboys used to have a little bit of history on the bedroll. The bedroll, cowboys, back in the old West, cowboys would have the bedroll on the back of their horse, along with their saddle. It'd have a little bit of food, it'd have some cordage, and because it had their tarp, in the event they get caught in a rainstorm, they can bundle up in their canvas tarp they would throw it over them. They'd have it set up in a diagonal setup instead of my straight run setup. And that's how they would use the bedroll, because they might be out for weeks, months, and they'd always have a wool blanket. Well, they'd always have 2 wool blankets, a big heavy duty blanket, then a smaller blanket. So like the way I sleep in mine is I unfold this big heavy duty blanket and I throw my little fleece blanket in the middle of it, throw both of those over me, and then if it's really cold, like whenever I was up at Muddy Creek, I threw the rest of my canvas tarp over me as well, which is one of the traditional purposes, to provide additional warmth and also to keep you dry. I have used this canvas tarp in the rain. It does retain water if it doesn't have a way to get rid of that water. So that's the one downside to this canvas tarp, and this canvas tarp specifically that I have. But other than that, I love it, and I don't see myself ever going back to a sleeping bag, because a sleeping bag, you've only got one use for it, that's sleeping in. Compared to a bedroll, you can throw, if I wanted to, I could throw an extra set of clothes in this, I could throw an extra knife, and I've actually got a surprise camp out that I'm wanting to do here pretty soon that only involves my bedroll. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that little camping trip. That one is probably going to be, it's either going to be here at the Sulphur River MWA, or it's going to be at Muddy Creek, which is way north. Well, I say way north. It's 2.5 hour drive from where I live down in Texarkana. But most of it's back roads and switchbacks and everything else. This, pretty much a straight shot. And I know this is kind of weird, seeing this kind of video pop up on a Tuesday. I'm recording this on Monday, but I surprisingly got Monday and Tuesday off. I got to be back at work on Wednesday, and doing this kind of camping is what relieves me and keeps me sane. Let's say short, sweet, and to the point. Kiss. But all right, that's it for this little video. I'll probably be doing another little video, but I'll upload that one in a few days. But my bedroll setup, why I use it, and everything else, and a little bit of history of the bedroll too. All right, guys, catch you later.